Hello everyone, welcome to Arts and Drafts. My name is Grothic and today I'd like to show you how to color a scene with Copic markers. We'll use the drawing that we made on our first tutorial and we'll really try to bring out this gloomy movie noir kind of atmosphere. We'll also add a little bit of rain and maybe we'll give the sky a nice glow. So I hope you can use some of my ideas. So we'll start with our building at the corner. It could be some sort of sandstone facade. So we'll start with a light beige eggshell kind of color and then go darker as you progress. It's a bit like drawing with watercolors. You start with the lightest color and then you go darker on the way. We'll speed up the process a little bit later because otherwise it will just take too long. The main thing at the beginning is just to put some color onto the canvas. It doesn't really matter if you made a mistake somewhere. You can always alter it later, and you can easily manipulate the colors with blenders or with different colors. You can always change that later, so you don't really have to hold back. Just go along with it. So I think we might need some beats for the background in a minute. So I've got my digitakt and my strymon nightsky on the left. I'll just go there. So I just put in a random pattern into the digitakt and hit play. So with the night sky you can always add some reverb, some ambience and some atmosphere. So I'll carry on with my drawing now. I think I'll speed it up to about 400% should be okay. So I'm using a darker color out of the same color family to give the structure in front of the building a bit more depth. That side of the building will be the darker one. It won't get as much light as the other side of it. So I'm using that one all along. As you can see, I'm using the classic Copics at the moment because the tip is just a bit more precise. It's easier to draw structures like that. So I'm starting with the tower with that retro skyscraper. I think it could have some sort of green granite facade, I think, or maybe a green marble. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm going to use the chows now, just to give it some color first. I'll take care of the details later. Just get some color on the canvas, like I did with that building at the corner. So I'm starting with my my workshop building in the background. I'm leaving out the windows on purpose because I haven't quite decided yet which rooms I want to switch on the light later. I'll decide as I go along. So give this brick wall a bit of color. So I'm just going to blend my brick wall a little bit. It doesn't matter if the structures in the background are a bit blurred, especially not because we are trying to give this whole drawing some sort of misty, rainy atmosphere. And you wouldn't see much of the details anyway. You always have to make sure that the foreground is quite sharp and detailed. That's what's important. What goes on in the background is not really necessary to put too much effort into it. So that's the next building in the background. I'm using that E53 marker again, that color family, that color palette. That could be some sandstone, limestone maybe, kind of building. We'll keep to that color family for the structures along the road. And as you see here, I'm already putting in a bit of shades, smaller ones. That's the roof of the diner. I'm going to carry on with my residential buildings on the right, with a peachy red pinkish color as a base. I'll use that probably for the whole, for all of the buildings on the right hand side. And with that bit darkish red color, I'm just going to give the layers of bricks a bit of structure. You have to be careful not to use too much of it, but you can blend it quite well. It's also of the E color palette, like the ones on the left, like the sandstone colors. So it will always match the other colors. I'll finish the rest later. Just going to put some warm grey on it just to darken it a little bit. I'll just carry on with my buildings on the left. I've got a bit there. So the background, I'm just going to use grey. I'm not going to put too much effort, too much detail into that. The main focus is the one on the corner. That really needs attention and a lot of details. So I think I've decided which rooms I want lit and which I don't. So I'm just going to put some warm grey color onto it. I'm going to stick to the W color palette, which I think is called warm grey all along. It's from W1 to W10. It'll become clear later why I use these colors, because they'll blend over quite well with the rest of the painting. So a bit of shadows, a bit of depth to the windows, and to the pointed arches in the ground floor. So yeah, I just used the blender again to blend over the different colors. So back to the buildings on the right. As I said, I want layers of bricks all the way along on the right. Just noticing I did something wrong with the scale. I should be one story higher in that building on the right. I didn't really pay attention there. But that is really something that can't be altered anymore. You just have to live with that. So I'm just going to put some warm grey on it again, which I'll use a lot on the road and the sky later. So this will be the yellow light that you would get from light bulbs that you used back then. That's just a normal yellow, which I'll blend and give it a bit more depth to it. So these ones I'm just going to fill with grey colours, and I don't really need those anymore. So we wanted this to be a rainy day, so I'll start with the reflection on the pavement and on the road. Basically just continue the vertical lines on the road and try to copy some of the structure. It doesn't have to be too detailed because we'll blend quite a lot. So here are these warm grey colours that I said I'd use. Oh, that was the wrong one. So I'm just going to start filling it with the color patterns to give the road a little bit of wear and tear. So this is the pavement, the edge of it. So this is just a chow that I use for blending. I don't want too much reflection on the road. And here's that yellow I used for the light, which I'll just copy onto that. And that's the white Copic that I filled with blender. I don't think you can buy them already filled, you have to fill them yourself. So with the sky I'm basically doing the same. I'm starting with a light color just to outline the buildings, and then I go darker as I go along. I started with a W4. I don't know if that's dark enough, but you can always change that later. So that would be the next one. That would be W5 on a classic marker that I'm going to use to darken the sky a little bit more. I'm going to leave out that lantern because I want that to light up the scene a little bit. So that's W7. That's already slightly darker than the rest, so I will have to do some blending there. And then W8 for the edges. So that will be the darkest color that I would use in the sky. And here the W3 just to blur the edges a little bit. And the W2 for around the light. So that will be the glow. I use that peachy color chow for the sky there, and a greenish one for those toxic fumes out of that power plant. So that's the blended chow, which I'm going to use to blur the edges a little bit. So it's not too dark then. I'm going to use the wide one too, just because it's a lot quicker and you just add so much more structure to the whole sky. As you see now, it's totally changed the atmosphere of the drawing, and it didn't really take that long to achieve. So I'm just using the W4 warm grey classic now, just to copy some of the grey onto those buildings, just to match the colors a little bit more, and to give it a darker sort of image. Those were those ventilation ducts, which are just going to give the glow that I used from the sky. I'll just color them with that color, because they will be stainless steel usually, and they will reflect pretty much everything. So that's a W6. I'm going to use that for the darker side of the building. I used the wide tip for that because I'll blend that later anyway, so it doesn't have to be too detailed. I just need to get some color on there first and deal with the rest later. That's the nice thing about the Copic markers. You can make mistakes. You can always fix quite a lot later. I don't think you can do that with other markers in that way. Put some more color on the bridges here. There'll probably be cast iron or steel or something like that, so it will be a dark color palette in any way. I see which way the painting goes. I'll add details then to them and see how I can use them in the drawing. It's beginning to look a bit like impressionistic. It's like a cross of Van Gogh's Night Cafe and Hopper's Nighthawks now. So I don't need these windows anymore, so I'm just going to close them. I think that the road is too light now. I took too much color away with the blender, so I think I might need to fix that. I might need to put a darker a W7 or something, or a W8 on the road, just to match it a bit more and make it look a bit more like the sky. So I'm going to start with that industrial estate here, and as I did before, I'm just going to copy the vertical structures down on the road and on the pavement, and then later blend it like I just did here with the wide one. Yeah, that's better. It's a bit more realistic, because I mean the sky is usually the lightest, then the road, and then the houses, in that order. So also here on that side of the road, I'm just going to add a little bit more contrast by using a dark marker here. So that is better. That lens I've got on the camera here doesn't really represent the colors the way they are in reality. So I think in the end I'm gonna copy a still frame onto this tutorial, so you can that's a bit closer to the colors that I am actually seeing here. I'll just use a different lens and different light, because that LED light that I've got here is a very warm one, and it adds a lot of red to it all. So those buildings I'm drawing at the moment, I'm coloring at the moment, it's not really that red in reality, but you'll see that later. So this is the foreground, so you need a lot of details here. Those wooden window frames. If I do a professional job here, I'd probably use a ruler and be a bit more careful with the way I'm using the Copics here. But since it's just a tutorial, I won't make it too detailed and too precise. So this barrel's a little bit of color there. So next, we'll start with the lantern. That could be sort of like a racing green on them. Well, for those other lamps, I think I'll have to use the ruler. Yeah, that doesn't work. That's better. Because that would be a shame if those lines wouldn't be straight. I don't think that would look good in the end. So we've got the connecting bridge here now, and the clock tower. It's beginning to look the way I had in mind. Just some more details here on our power plant, some greyish colors, and of course the light in that sky garden on that skyscraper. The billboard, yeah, I forgot about that. And of course our cafe or diner. I haven't quite decided what it is. So these are sort of like church windows. I'll just give them a bit of color. They probably have different, I don't know, different glasses within a frame. And it just has to look sort of illuminated behind there. You could probably take a bit more time to detail the whole thing, but I won't bother. So I'm just going to use a white pencil there to light up the scene a little bit, because it was a bit too dark. So that's some drainage and the balcony going. So we'll give our French balcony a bit of color. This will probably all be steel up there, and the beams, the supporting beams on the wall would be cast iron, so it will be a darker color. So I'll give our workshop, our Bauhaus style building, a bit more contrast there, because that would be quite dark in that area of the picture. All I'm doing now is really adding details. Those vertical structures on the roof, that installation, that is not really defined. A bit more green to the fumes, and basically just finishing up the drawing now. Cafe. I'll put a couple of people there and outside that building, which I'm realizing now are far too small in scale. They have to be way bigger than that. But as I said before, I made a mistake there at the beginning. When I set up that drawing, they need to be way bigger than that. Well, I'll do that next time. But they do need some shadows. And it will be the light source will be the building itself, so the shadows will have to go in the other direction, since there's no light from the sky. A little bit from the lanterns, of course. So this is a Park White. That's also a Copic product, but it's basically like Tipex, really. You can just draw on top of it, on top of the other colors, to give it a bit more light. A bit more in the diner, a bit more light, and just in the sky, just add some lights in the sky. There are always sort of the odd light beams or the or position lights or something like that in the sky. So I'm just adding little dots here and there. I think that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything more I could do there. So as I said, this is a different lens. That's what it will look like, sort of more natural. I think I'm going to leave it like that.
There's enough color on there. So thank you for watching, and maybe next time you use your Copic markers, maybe there's something you can use that you saw in this video. So hope to see you soon.